Welcome to the MRC GTTCC. This is week number 4 for the Pro-Am 2 category, race number 1 from Catalunya GP. Everyone in the Ferrari 458 Italia's Group 4 machine, so everyone's on a level playing field. Let's have a look at the grid. So we have Shell Shock on pole position, followed by GT Raffo. DRC Mung is third with Terence 322 in fourth. P1 Pilgrim is in fifth with WER Mr. Dre 70 in sixth. Jambo is in seventh with Quinn B in eighth. Hammercat ninth. Connor RM is in 10th. Azeroth 11th. Spider Team is in 12th, Wooders 13th, Rocky Rich 14th, and MRC Lega 272 is in 15th. So I can say in Spain for this week. So let's get this show underway for the Pro-Am 2 category. So let's rise. Now we're underway for the 30-minute race. Down the main straight we go then, and Shell Shock's got a decent start, but GT Raffo still alongside, heading down towards turn 1. Shell Shock round the outside in the monster car. The Halfords Ferrari looked at the inside, couldn't quite get it sorted. So Shell Shock leads the way, but Raffo isn't yet finished as they head through turn 3. A bit further back, Terence still fourth. Heading down towards turn 4. Raffo looks to the inside, thinks better of it. Pilgrim in the background. There's Mr. Dre Hammercat in 7th. He's doing quite nicely at the start of this race. He's on soft front tyres and soft rears. Further behind, we've got Quinn B and Jambo having a bit of a scrap as they head into 5, and that looked like Dre went for a move on Hammercat. Couldn't quite pull it off though. At the front though, Raffo's gone down to 4th. He's now behind Terence there. Let's have a quick look. So he's come out to 4, just a little bit slow. He's got Mung down the inside, and yeah, Terence has just followed Mung through. Good move from the Budweiser driver. Just Raffo through turn 9. Really horrible little corner, just over the crest, right-hander. Spider Team. Down the inside, he's got Connor RM in the other Halford's car just behind. As we go through the final set of corners. Again, Connor looking to the inside, he's got a bit of a run now coming down towards the final 4 corners of the lap. Oh, that could end up in a penalty though. That's a big cut he's just taken. And there's a slight cut as well. So penalties are on. Yes, there we go. Half a second penalty then for Connor to shift during this race. Shell Shock still leading from Mung. Raffo's got past Terence, but Terence looking to the inside of turn 1. Pilgrim's had a incident or an off accident somewhere. He's down to 6th behind Hammercat. Raffo holding off Terence for now. Speaking of Hammercat, here he is, the HKS driver. Pilgrim to the inside. Remember, Pilgrim will have a better run initially, but Hammercat should get a better exit, able to open up the steering and get more throttle in, and he has done down the inside for turn 5. Number 42 car giving the number 29 a good run for its money right now as he heads into 7 and 8. Using a touch of curb. Down towards 10 they go. Ooh, Hammercat. Just letting off the throttle there. Do you have a penalty? Just go back and have a watch, because it looks like Hammercat just almost allows Pilgrim through. Just maybe braked a bit earlier. But behind, you got Mr. Dre and Quinn B side by side. The Samsung driver and the Monster Energy car. Mr. Dre currently holding on to 7th into the chicane for the second time. Bit of a slide from Quinn. Hasn't helped his cause there. Meanwhile, Spider Team back into 10th. Azeroth currently 11th. Rocky Rich in 12th. Connor is behind Rocky Rich. So I wonder if Connor got rid of his penalty. Got a bit of freight train going on. Leggers 14th. Wooders 15th. Shell Shock still leading the way. And Raffo starting to get onto the back of Mung. He's gone very wide through 3. Yeah, he's got a 1 second penalty for going wide through turn 3. He's going to have to try and keep Raffo behind and somehow get rid of that penalty in the process. The Michelin driver, he's just giving himself a bit of a hard task to do as Raffo round the outside. Great move from the Halfords man. Managed to just pitch it right round the outside, and Mung couldn't really do much about it because he got pinched on the apex. Just to the point where he couldn't get that steering wheel opened enough to allow the throttle in nicely. So Rafa, a lovely move to get himself up into 2nd place around turn 5. The question is, can he get onto the back of Shell Shock? Oh, and that's Hammercat. He's gone well off. What's happened here? So you've got Mr. Dre behind coming into the hairpin, and he's just completely and utterly outbraked himself. Interesting rejoin as he tries to regain control of the Ferrari. Comes back on track in 8th place. So as we continue on through this race, you can see further behind, there is Legger, who's got Wooders and Connor RM, who's now drifted to the back of the pack. Raffo does have the fastest lap of the race, but he's not reeling in Shell Shock as he needs to. In this first turn, he's got soft front tyres on. I think most people in this lobby, 7/10 of a penalty for Mung. Terence isn't too far behind. He's doing a good job here, just keeping a tag. On those front runners. Normally you get a Raffo, Mung, Shell Shock just kind of run away a little bit at the front, especially Mung and Shell Shock for Pro-Am 2, but Terence is doing a great job of just hanging in there, and if any of them make a mistake, he will be able to punish that mistake. But Raffo and Mung are seriously going at it in a minute. Pilgrim, Mr. Dre, followed by Quinn. There's Jambo, Spider Team. It looks like Hammercat's had another moment somewhere. He's got a 9/10 of a second penalty for good measure in the number 42 car. And the Roth, Rocky Rich. It all looks a little bit tight between the back, the guys at the back of the pack, but the map doesn't always give you the best indication. Lega at the back. I think Lega has made a very early pit stop here. So interesting to see how that tactic works out for him. Meanwhile, Raffo and Mung. Still trying to get after Shell Shock here. Shell Shock just running a similar pace, but Raffo has visually closed the gap slightly on this lap as he heads into turns 7 and 8. The Halfords man has ripped a fair chunk of time out of the Monster Energy car into turn 9. And Raffo in the slipstream now, so that means it's going to be easier for Raffo to stay with Shell Shock. And as I say that, Raffo has a good look to the inside, thinks better of it. Probably the best idea through there. Shell Shock was always going to hit the apex. Raffo would have been pinched there. So go through the last sector. 13, 14, 15, followed by the final corner of 16. And Raffo looking for that straighter line out. Shell Shock went a bit wide. And now we let the slipstream take over. So you can see Shell Shock over to the right, over to the left, trying to break that slipstream as much as possible. I think Raffo's a little bit too far back. Just a little bit too far back for now for Raffo, although he's got a good run coming out off turn 2. Should get to the inside for turn 3. Yes, he does. But again, Shell Shock should have the better run on the outside for the exit. Be able to open up the steering wheel. Raffo's done a brilliant job keeping it to the inside into turn 4. And Shell Shock does eventually get ahead. Raffo's right on the bumper. This is the bumper view for Raffo into the middle part of the course, into turn 9. It's blind right-hander. See Shell Shock just a little bit quicker through the corner. Just gives him that gap so Raffo can't make a move into turn 10. We're coming up 11 minutes already through this race. The flick left of 11, the long right-hander of 12. 90-degree right-hand of 13. And you just see Shell Shock just being a little bit tighter on those apexes. Just allowing that bit more momentum to be carried through the corner. Just allowing the car to roll just a touch more than those around him. But here we go, back in the slipstream with Raffo. And immediately Shell Shock now goes to the right hand side. He'll go back to the left potentially. Yes, he does. Breaking that slipstream. It means Raffo's not going to get as big a run as he'd like into turn 1. Bit of a lock up though from Shell Shock. Not enough to disturb the car going into turn 1. But Raffo now looking for a good run on the exit of 3. I think his best chance will be trying to get a run out of 4 here and into 5. He's quite strong through turn 5. Raffo just can't quite get there at the moment. He's trying and trying, but Shell Shock just about has the measure of him every time Raffo gets close. back. There's Mung, Terrence still in 4th, Pilgrim 5th, Mr. Dre 6th. There's Quimby with Jambo on his tail, the Castrol man. Spider Team is currently in 9th with Azeroth in 10th. Hammercat is 11th. And there's Rocky Rich, Wooders, Connor and Lega. Not much going on towards the back of the pack. It's all happening at the front. The number 99 machine of Shell Shock trying to keep GT Raffo from the Halfords team behind. And Shell Shock moving around a lot. He's got to be careful of this now because Raffo's in range. He has to be careful. He only moves once. That one defensive move you get. Through 4, and Raffo still trying to get onto the back. So this is the view from Shell Shock as we enter 7 and 8. Just see he's got the power down really nicely actually through there, opening the gap up before 9. But Raffo touch quicker through 9. Then we head into the hairpin of 10, coming up towards 15 minutes, so halfway through the race nearly. And Raffo so much later on the brakes, but the exit isn't quite as good as Shell Shock. Shell Shock a little bit more square, just squaring up the hairpin a little bit more compared to Raffo, allowing him to put the throttle on just a touch earlier. Into the final few corners. And now Raffo's got a good chance here. He's got right on the wing pretty much of Shell Shock. Shell Shock goes to break the toe. And this time, I think Shell Shock will stay to the inside. Got a few guys coming in the pits. Pilgrim, Quimby, Mr. Dre. Spider Team stayed out. Once again, Raffo closes up on the corner entry, looking for a way through. To the middle circle, and this time Raffo's got a really good run actually out of 8 up to 9. If he can, he's braked a bit early to make sure he doesn't go to the back of Shell Shock, but it might give him the better line, and the better slipstream will keep him in touch, ready for that main straight once again. Oh, and Raffo closes right up to the bumper. So if he can get turn 9 correct, stay on the boot of Shell Shock here, Raffo, I think he'll have a good chance through that turn 10 hairpin. But he just can't quite get the run. Into the last couple of corners. Will any of the leaders make a pit stop now? Doesn't look like it. No, they all continue. Terrence will come into the pits. So this will be interesting because Terrence will be on a set of fresher tyres for a little period of time, so the undercut can be quite powerful around circuits on GT Sport. Jambo's now in the pits. Spider Team carrying on his super soft tyres. Mr. Dre drawing alongside. Now Mr. Dre on a fresh set of super softs, so this should be fairly easy for him. gets the move made. Back at the front, Raffo still can't get past. I mean, there is Lego on his own at the moment. Back at the front though, Shellshock still being harassed almost by Raffo. Once again, it was a bit like this at Bathurst, but there was Shellshock and Mung that time around. Just almost follow each other, trying to pick out where the best place to pass is. The last few corners we go, and Shellshock still under immense pressure as they come into the turn 14-15 chicane. Mung all over the curb in the background, and once again I think they're potentially going to be no stopping this trio. Raffo not close enough, I don't think, on this attempt to make a move. Shellshock moves quite violently to the left there, breaking the toe to go back to the racing line. Raffo not close enough to make the move. Here's Quinn B as a Spider team now comes into the pit lane for his pit stop. Zazaroth, Rocky Rich in the quick fit car, and Wooders also in the quick fit car. And Connor's having a bit of a drifting session through the last few corners, and Raffo through. Let's go back and see the build up. So through turn 3, he's right on the boot lid in the slipstream. This time forces Shellshock to go defensive to the inside, brakes a bit earlier. Yeah, gets the switch back through 4 down, and he's already done him before 5. Fantastic play. Raffo set that up an absolute treat through 3, and he's got his just rewards there. He's into the lead of the race, but he's now got 10 minutes to keep Shellshock behind, and it's one thing to overtake, get into the lead is a whole other ball game to keep that place. All of a sudden you are the prey rather than hunting down your opponent. Mung still has 0.2 of a second penalty here. He's gradually whittling it down, but this top 3 have been fantastic to watch so far. Raffo now with a good chance of taking a victory. Left, right, down towards the final corner. Raffo continues to lead the way. He'll put a lap in the books. Now, will he? Yes, he does go and break the toe, a bit like Shellshock did. Back to the racing line. And once again, this time around, Shellshock unable to make a move into turn number 1. And these guys, very clever racers in terms of setting each other up, really. And this time Raffo goes slightly defensive, realises he doesn't have to go so defensive. Bit of a tap between the two. Into turn 4, Shellshock looking to the outside. That's not quite going to work. It could bring DRC Mung into play. Mung kind of being very patient in the background there, waiting for his moment to pounce on the top 2. Bit of a look down the order. Taking nothing looks like is going to happen here. No, I think everyone's just a little bit too far back. So look, there's Terence in 4th, Pilgrim 5th, Mr. Dre 6th, Quinby 7th, Jambo 8th, Spider Team in 9th, and he's on fresh tyres. So that's, keep an eye out for him. Azeroth currently in 10th. Rocky Rich, Hammercat, Wooders, Legger, and Connor in the other Halfords car at the back. But again, none of them really in a battle. Oh, close, in close proximity, but not close enough to make a move compared to the top 3 of Raffo, Shellshock and Mung. They come on to the main straight for the 12th time. You start lap 13. We have just 7 minutes, 10 seconds remaining now. The biggest question, who's gonna win? Shellshock around the outside of turn 3. That is a fantastic move. Go back and watch that one again. So he's got it down the inside for turn number 1. Gets the move sorted, but then Raffo comes back right at him through turn 3. And Shellshock just holds it round the outside. And Shellshock once again back into the lead of this race, and Raffo's got to be careful because Mung is looking around the outside of turn 4. Isn't going to work, he's going the long way around. So Raffo's got the work to do once again. He hasn't got a lot of time remaining to do it, but you almost think the later he can leave it, the better, because it gives Shellshock less chance to get back at him. Through to 9, down towards turn 10. Raffo looking for a switch back through 10, isn't quite going to get it. Or is it? Yes, he is. He's down the inside, through 11, round the outside for 12. That's not quite going to work. So he's going to have to fall back in line. No, not quite. Still side by side. This is a great race in between these top 2. And again, still side by side, but Raffo thinks better of it through the chicane. He knows there's only a 1 car line through there, and he's not got a good exit either, so Mung's going to be on his tail. Raffo, the best thing he can do is keep in the slipstream here of Shellshock, because if Mung decides to pull out and look for the move, the slipstream will keep Raffo just about ahead as they enter turn 1 for the 14th time. And you can start to see Raffo's tyres are starting to give up the ghost, and that big slide tells you even more. Those tyres are becoming very much finished for Raffo. Although Shellshocks are in a worse position, but you can tell. I mean, it's interesting. Raffo's tyres are, on paper, there on the graphic, better than the top 2. And yet he's seemingly struggling a little bit on them. Again, down to turn 10. This time Mung up, obviously up into 2nd place. Looking to consolidate that and go after Shellshock now. But Raffo really isn't done here. There's Terence in 4th. Just scan through, make sure there's no battles. I mean, Spider Team is starting to get onto the back of Jambo here, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one as it goes. As Azeroth, yeah, no one else really having that battle. Mung still ahead of Raffo as they enter the final corner. Down the main straight they go once again. 3 minutes 20 to go. So 2 more laps. all over the back of Shell Shock now, going through 4. I'm going to keep it on the bottom, on the left hand side, because obviously Jambo currently in 8th. He's starting to go under attack from Spider Team. But looking to the outside of 5, doesn't work. Raffo almost looking to go down the inside for 6 and 7. You have to feel there's Terrence in the background. Terrence going very quick. I mean, 153.8 compared to the top lot of doing 155s. He is starting to catch them like an absolute train, but I think it's going to be too little too late for Terrence, as Mung now looks to the outside. Once again, the door closes. I think Terrence is a little bit too far back. It's a great strategy to be on, but unfortunately it's just paying off that a little bit too late for him. And we're going to go back because Spider Team, just going to watch this move. He's managed to keep around the outside of turn 3, going into turn 4. Remember, Spider Team on fresh tyres, round the outside of Jambo. Gets the move made. Oh, Jambo's still down the inside, down towards turn 5. And finally, Spider Team will consolidate that place. So we're about to go on to the final lap of the race then. DRC Mung has Raffo behind, Shellshock ahead. Who's going to take the win of this race? It could be any of these top 3. They're all quick enough. There's Terrence in the background. Again, just not quite close enough to trouble the top 3 in this case. But Mung down the inside. Does he get it stopped? Yes, he does. But Shellshock will have a run to the outside. A little bit of movement. And Mung is going to just about hang on here. And here comes Raffo down the inside of Shellshock. Shellshock very, very wide actually going through turn 3. And he may well pick up a penalty for that. He does, half a second worth of penalties, in fact. Raffo and Mung then. They're just pulling away from Shellshock now. So the Shellshock probably still has a bit of his penalty to serve. But here we go. Raffo, oh, he's got a good run coming through 8. He'll need to keep this momentum through 9. That he does. And he's gaining with the slipstream towards turn 10. Looks to the outside, sells him the dummy to go to the inside. No, he couldn't quite get it done. Although it may have thrown Mung off a little bit, because Mung's got a bit wide through the hairpin. Raffo down the inside. And Raffo into the lead right at the end of this race. Can he keep it through the final few corners? Into the right of 13, 14 and 15.08 for the left-right chicane. Oh, a bit of a slide from Raffo, the back end twitching. Towards the line they come. Who's going to pick it up? It's going to be GT Raffo, who wins here at Catalunya, followed by Mung. Then it's going to be Terrence, who claims 3rd at the very end as Shellshock gets rid of his penalty. He'll be 4th, so a good race for Terrence there, good strategy. P1 Pilgrim comes home in 5th. Mr. Dre will come home in 6th. But yeah, Terrence, a fantastic strategy, which, had there been an extra lap or 2, I think Terrence would have been in with a shout there of potentially winning that race. So Mr. Dre comes home in 6th place. It's going to be Quinn B in 7th. Spider Team is 8th. Jambo 9th. Azeroth will come home for 10th place. '11th for Rocky Rich. 12th for Hammercat. It was looking promising early on, but didn't quite pan out. Wooders finishes 13th. Legger currently in occupying 14th. He's got Connor not too far behind. Into the final few corners then. The Budweiser driver, followed by the Halfords car. It is going to be MRC Lugger 272 who takes 14th place, and the wooden spoon unfortunately goes to Connor, who's gone very, very wide and trip into the gravel, into the wall. I don't really know what's happened to Connor there, but he's going to come home 15th. But what a race that was from Catalunya.